as humans, we obviously produce a lot of waste that needs to be removed of. I've always been somebody that's tried to reduce how much garbage I produce. Um, Many years ago, I started burning all of my paper, and that just really shrunk the size of my garbage. And then any food scraps or whatever always went out to my chickens. In your kitchen, you keep you a chicken bucket, so any scraps that the humans or dogs don't eat gets thrown in there to go out to the chickens. And so absolutely zero food waste was there in my house. So it got down to where me and my roommate were producing about 1 bag of garbage a week, which wasn't too bad compared to like the people kitty corner to us. It was just an elderly couple, and they had 6 huge garbage cans that would just be packed full with stuff heaping all over the sides and everything. And I'm just thinking, man, how wasteful. I mean, where are you even getting all that waste from? In fact, the U.S. makes up about 5% of the world's population, but produces 12% of the world's solid waste. So as a country, we got a lot of work to do on reducing that, especially the big cities. New York City is the most wasteful city in the world, supposedly. So, ugh, you know, big city people will look down at country people because we might have our take care of our garbage ourselves, but look at the inner city, New York. Once that garbage is it's shipped out of state, they don't even bury it there in New York. They go find somewhere else to go get rid of it. That's gross. I think people would be less wasteful if they can be wasteful because it becomes somebody else's problem once they throw it out. But if everybody had to find a way to get rid of their own waste, maybe they would be more mindful of it and try to reduce how much they have. So I decided to put this spot here for my garbage. It actually took me a few weeks looking around the property before I came to the conclusion where I wanted to do it, because obviously you don't want your rubbish heap somewhere where people come out to visit and they're going to see it and it's in eyesight and that. But at the same time, I didn't want it somewhere where it was going to be obtrusive to any property owners nearby or whatever, because actually down past here in the bottom is where my property ends and the next neighbor is over there, and there's nobody living there presently. It looks like from their driveway that probably never even haven't been in there in over a year. But it's a steep hill right on the other side of here where they're not obviously going to build. Their suitable building sites are going to be up the ridge and on the other side of the ridge, most likely. So it's a decent spot to where even if they do move in over there, they're never even going to see it through all the trees and over the hills and that. So you want to be mindful of that. That's just called being a good neighbor, good human being. So you buy property, you want to find you a spot like that where you can pick. Now, a lot of people in town are going to look down on, oh, you just got a garbage heap. But think about it. You probably live in town and get garbage service, right? So what do? They drive a truck out to you, burning all this diesel and all the wear and tear on the vehicle and the roads and everything to pick up your garbage. They go and take it out to a landfill where then more equipment is used to bury it. Whereas here, I just bypass all the vehicles and that. I just bring my stuff here, and what's going to happen to it is leaves and pine needles and everything are going to fall on it, and over time, it's just going to get buried too, just like it would in a landfill. I just didn't burn any diesel or had to use heavy equipment to make it happen. I took care of it myself. You know, that's part of reducing our footprint in the world is simplifying your supply chains. I mean, everything we do, modern humans, is just so complex. Even for something as simple as getting rid of your garbage, it is a hugely complex system. If we can just reduce that down to where you take care of that stuff yourself, the world ends up a better place like that. And now you guys are probably going to say, well, that's a lot of garbage for the short time you've been here. Actually, the majority of it was not me. I would say only about 3 of the small bags were from stuff I brought, food packaging and stuff like that. The rest of it was from garbage that was just strewn all over the property. And that was kind of upsetting to see, because it's like previous owners, I mean, you got this beautiful land, have a little respect for it and pick up your garbage, you know. I would have no problem if there was just a heap like this somewhere. I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. They had their spot where they put the garbage, but it was just all over the place. So that was a lot of work to clean up, actually. One of the worst spots was a huge pile of alcohol bottles. I'm not kidding. I mean, it was probably 25 square feet knee deep. I mean, somebody was coming out here every chance they got and just getting bombed. And, that's sad. I mean, whoever bought this had a dream. And instead of coming out here when they got the chance and worked on the property and started building infrastructure, that they just hit the sauce. When you buy mountain land or beautiful survival retreats or whatever, you're basically buying somebody else's broken dreams. I mean, when you buy like this, you have to be all in 100%. You can look back in the history of a property like this, and somebody bought it with a dream of making it into something great, and a few years later they're like, it's going to take work, and they just sell it off. And then the next person, same thing, a few years later they sell it off, until somebody like me comes and sees what it is, and is willing to put in the work and the effort. That will not happen to me. I refuse to fail at this. I mean, I got everything poured into this. All of my money, my life savings, my everything, my heart, it's all poured into this. So I will be living out here and I will die on this land. That's just the way it's going to be. And if you want to do it, that's the same thing. You buy land, don't just be thinking, oh, it'd be cool to buy some land and, on the weekends I'll get out and do something. Okay, but you really got to get out there. There's no going on vacations and doing this. Every chance you get, you got to be working and making it towards what you want it to be. So whoever put all those bottles there, I hope their life's in a better place now than it was when they were collecting those bottles. I mean, it was a shame, because the pile was about 30 feet from my cabin, and I was doing some work, and I kept looking over at the pile, and it was just bothering me, man. I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like, those bottles ruined somebody else's dream. I felt like they were poisoning me in some way or whatever. So I had to stop what I was doing and go and clean all that up. And it was like 3 hours of work to clean up that pile, because it was, there was broken glass everywhere. They were just tossing the bottles in the pile. So it was a total mess to clean up. But then when I went back and started working again, I actually felt a lot better. It was like a dark cloud had been lifted from that area. So yeah, I'm glad that's out of the way, and hope you guys can take away a little message from that as well for yourself. When you come out to homestead or live the pioneer lifestyle, it's not about playing with your livestock all day and then sitting around the campfire and smoking weed. Like you got to put the effort in. I want this land to be somewhere where a damaged individual like myself can come to heal, not to exacerbate their personal problems. So this is good. I'm at a point now where, for the most part, all the garbage that was around is cleaned up. So it seems like a lot of garbage for now, but it'll only be adding to it in very small amounts. So I'm going to try to keep the garbage to a minimum as much as possible, and then in the future, every chance I get, try to find ways of recycling things and using things over again. And like I said, I burn all the paper, so that's not going to be just piled up out here. And it's nice when you burn paper, you get tons of ash, and that ash can be put into your compost and is nice fertilizer for then fertilizing your crops in that.